I kissed my wife's forehead for what I believed was the last time. The doctors had already told me there was nothing more they could do. My heart was shattered as I walked toward the hospital exit, barely able to breathe through my tears. Then I heard two nurses whispering behind me, "He still doesn't know the truth. If he finds out what really happened, this hospital will never recover." I froze. Within seconds, I turned around and what I uncovered destroyed every lie I believed for the last 12 years. My name is Daniel Brooks. My wife, Emily, had been my best friend for 34 years. She wasn't just my wife, she was the reason I woke up every morning when doctors told us her illness had reached its final stage. I promised I'd stay beside her until the very end. That morning, Emily squeezed my hand weakly and whispered, "No matter what happens, promise me you'll always look for the truth." At the time, I thought those were simply the words of a dying woman trying to comfort her husband. I kissed her goodbye, fighting back tears, and walked out of the room. As I reached the hallway, I overheard two nurses talking quietly. "Ill terrible for him," one whispered. "The records should never have been changed." The other replied, "If he discovers who approved it, everything will come crashing down." My heart stopped. Were they talking about Emily? Instead of leaving the hospital, I hid around the corner until they walked away. My instincts told me something wasn't right. I requested copies of Emily's medical records, but the hospital refused, saying they were still being processed. That only made me more suspicious. The next morning, I hired an independent medical attorney and demanded a complete investigation. Days later, shocking evidence surfaced. Several test results had mysteriously disappeared from Emily's file. Even worse, another patient's scans had been uploaded under her name weeks earlier. Emily had been receiving treatment based on someone else's diagnosis. The attorney uncovered emails showing that hospital administrators knew about the mistake, but instead of admitting it immediately, they delayed reporting it because they feared lawsuits and public outrage. I couldn't believe it. The woman I loved hadn't simply lost her battle with illness. She had been failed by the very people sworn to save lives. The investigation quickly became national news. Doctors testified. Former employees came forward. One nurse admitted she tried to report the mistake months earlier but had been threatened with losing her job. The hospital's CEO resigned within days. Several administrators faced legal action. No amount of money could ever bring Emily back, but I refused to let her story disappear. With part of the settlement, I started the Emily Brooks Patient Safety Foundation, a charity dedicated to helping families investigate medical negligence and improve hospital transparency. Every year, hundreds of families receive legal support they otherwise could never afford. Emily's final words suddenly made perfect sense. Always look for the truth. She already knew something wasn't right. She just didn't have the strength to fight anymore. Now, I fight for both of us. Sometimes the greatest betrayal doesn't come from strangers, it comes from the people we trust with the lives of those we love. One whispered conversation changed everything. I walked into that hospital, believing I was saying goodbye to my wife. I walked out determined to expose the truth she never got the chance to reveal. If this story touched your heart, remember one thing. Never stop asking questions when something doesn't feel right. Sometimes, the truth is waiting just beyond the hospital doors.